Therefore, he faces obstacles that hinder progress in his collaborations with the government. This is Enugu Kwenu. I am Favor Obinyeluba. Welcome. Good evening and welcome to Enugu Kwenu, reaching you live from the coast city of Odeifeneme, Enugu State, Nigeria, GSTV 254, GoTV channel 17, and of course on social media across all social media platforms, Afia TV official. My name is Favor Obinyeluba, and we have Emmanuel Okona, CEO Urban Springs, with us in the studio. Good morning, sir. How are you doing? I'm used to saying morning. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Good evening, Favor.
Good evening. I mean, it's been over close to a year since we last spoke.
It's been a long time.
A really long time.
Show. Good evening to our wonderful viewers. It's good to be here.
Good evening. I mean, I think we should start off with the significant changes that you've made. I think that's a good way to start. But before we even get to that, I mean, tell us about your venture, what you do in the water industry.
Okay. The name of our startup is Urban Springs. Urban Springs was born here in Enugu in 2022. Earlier on in 2021, we began our research and development, and the vision for us here is to bridge the gap in water accessibility, to revolutionize water distribution services, and to promote sustainability in water services. So essentially, we're trying to digitalize access to water to promote sustainable practices in water services.
That must be really something. I won't say difficult, but I would say it's something, especially with the water challenges that Enugu is popular for facing. You know, one of the very key mandates of the current administration was getting water in 180 days, and you know, we did a countdown. We're seeing water gets better, accessibility of water, we're seeing it gets better, and all of that. So how has the journey been, especially personally and in your startup? How's the journey been? What milestones have you been able to achieve? What are some of the findings that you've made, especially in the 2 years of running the water accessibility startup?
Yeah, very interesting question, because since we started, we looked at various sectors of water supply. So we kind of tried to understand the challenges that each sector is facing. And then when you look at it from the perspective of the customer, you find out that there's just been a whole lot of issues around people getting, how people get water, right? And when you look at it from the perspective of the vendor side of it, there's been a lot of challenges resulting from inefficiency in the way that these vendors operate, in the way that they create these services. So we kind of try to understand what these problems really are in the perspective of the vendors, the people that are creating the services. And also, when you try to look at it from the perspective of the other stakeholders like the public sector and the private sector, we kind of see some challenges in where the, for instance, these vendors, where they kind of meet up with the government. There's just been a lot of issues around how they access water and all of those. So these challenges, when you put them together, results to what we see, people not being able to have easy access to water, people not being able to deliver quality water services, and all the challenges that you have therein. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to kind of digitalize these points of contact, both for customers, both for the vendors, and both for water merchants, like water producers as well. Exactly, water producers. So digitalizing the customer side, we've built Urban Springs customer app. So this customer app sort of changes the game, like essentially making it business unusual. So instead of people now chasing vendors to buy water from vendors, it's now the vendors chasing the people to sell water to them. So how that works is that as a customer, you will be able to have you'll be able to see all of the available vendors within your locality that are willing to sell water to you. And for the vendors, you don't need to travel long distances to create services. You don't need to spend so much resources to create services as well. So we've built the vendor app as well. So there's Urban Springs vendor app, and there is Urban Springs customer app. And then on the back end services, we've also digitalized some of the ways that people engage in providing water services, like the business side of it. Those that are invested in the water sector, we try to reimagine the way that they do the business to be able to reduce inefficiency, to be able to promote sustainability for them.
Oh wow, that's very massive. That's very massive. That's very impressive. You know, putting this kind of thing together, making sure that people have access to water easily with technology. You know, it's not something that we get to hear every day. So it's very, very massive. Now, I remember when one of the last conversations that we had, we talked about some of the challenges, especially, I think this conversation was around the 180 days of water in Enugu, and a lot of people are expecting that we're going to be seeing water everywhere in Enugu. Even though it is gradual, we say that there are a lot of changes. The changes are very significant. Compared to what we used to see a couple of years ago in Enugu State, we're seeing a lot of progress. But how would you rate it, especially as somebody in that particular sector? I remember we're saying that, oh, you know, it might be bad business. People were rumoring to, you know, spoil or vandalize just so that it would continue to be good business for the water tankers and the water vendors as well. But in this, it's been over 180 days. I mean, it's even been over a year. But what would you say has changed, especially in the water industry in Enugu? Do you think that the water has now been significant? Do you think the water vendors are seeing a lot more, not just from your angle as someone who is in the water industry, but from, you know, someone who uses water, you know, and lives in Enugu State?
I think the first thing is to see it, to have water, and it's important to point out that water scarcity is different from lack of access to water. And on that note, water scarcity, in my opinion, has been eliminated in Enugu. Because the Enugu State Water Corporation, from the information I have, they've made significant significant progress in by moving the daily production from 20,000 cubic meter to about 60 and 70,000 cubic meter of water daily. I mean, this is massive improvement on their side, and that points to the fact that the water is no longer scarce. But however, what is the challenge now is circulating the water. It's giving people access to the water, people now having that water, the services around that water is what has remained the challenges so far, in my opinion.
So you say the challenges that people still have, or Enugu still have when it comes to water, it's not necessarily the scarcity. There is water now, but the access to the water is still the problem that we have.
Exactly.
So now, and I want to ask, because we are seeing a lot of, when it comes, the major conversation we have for today is about the partnerships that we should have. this government, I think we can say, is very open to private partnerships. We've seen a lot public-private partnerships. We've seen a lot of things come up, and then on further investigation, we see, oh, it's private-owned, but then they collaborate with the government, and we're seeing a lot of big changes compared to the administration before, or compared to things that we've been seeing. So we can say that the Enugu State government is very open to partnerships from private individuals. If you have a very good innovation, if you have something that is going to benefit the citizens of Enugu, the government is more than open to collaborating with it. You know, we have that. But what would you say is the limitation that we're seeing with collaborating with private individuals or private companies, especially in the water industry, being that it's one of the industries, or being is one of the problems that Enugu also face?
Yeah, I think if you look at the body language of the government, first of all, you look at the person that is piloting the affairs, the governor, His Excellency Governor Peter Simba. Look at his track record. Look at who he is. He's a very phenomenal person who has achieved significant success in the private sector. And he's now here in the public sector as our governor. And that's why you can see the level of private-public partnership that is going on in Enugu now, because he himself, through his experience in the private sector, understands that it's only the private sector, seasoned private sector-driven economy, that has the ability and the potential to scale. And I'm not surprised that we are witnessing a lot of PPP in Enugu State.
Yeah.
Really. Now, taking it down to the water side of it, I mean, as someone that has been in the state, someone that has been doing research and development, leading a startup in water services, we've done a lot of engagement with the public stakeholders, the stakeholders in the public sector and stakeholders in the private sector. So our experience with the stakeholders in the public sector, I mean, since our pilot phase in July with the Enugu State Water Corporation, our experience with them has been, has been concerning. There's a lot of concerns for us, So I tell you this, the governor, the executive council of Enugu State, I've met some of the team of the governor. These guys are brilliant. These guys knows what they are doing. But you see, the problem is when you step off that threshold of the executive council or the political appointees and step really into the institutions, which are the doorway to the government. I mean, the institutions are so important because this is where engagement occurs. So when you step into that realm, it's something else. It's something else. And for us, the experience has rather been very, very it's not something that we kind of expected as a startup that is in the state, that is running and building services around water and building innovation. We were expected that there would be some sort of collaboration across board. So what it feels like is this: you step into an office and then you sit down and you're facing maybe one head of department usually or the other, and you're speaking to him. In your mind, you're talking to a collaborator. But what you're looking at is someone who is actively a civil servant, but instinctively, and every other aspect of him, is an entrepreneur. And so what it is you're just talking to someone who is a potential competitor without knowing it. And what you have is they kind of sort of try to listen to what you say, not to collaborate with you, but to kind of pick up one or two things that they could actually say, oh yeah, this is sort of get excited over what you have proposed or what you've come to do with them. And next thing you see is you're being kicked out, you're being frustrated out of the whole thing. So that is not a way to go for an economy that is hoping to grow exponentially. Because if we want to grow from $4.4 billion to $30 billion, I think collaboration should happen more at the institutional level. The civil service, the civil servants, some of them, not all of them, I must say some of them, they need to really understand the culture of the governor, of the government of the day, and try to like shift themselves towards that culture. And that culture is the culture of collaboration, is the culture of accepting innovation, listening to entrepreneurs, listening to business leaders that have been in the system, that have invested resources to build solutions, and on trying to understand where they can be of help to these businesses, to enable these businesses to scale their solution and create jobs and, of course, deliver value to the larger community. But that's not what has happened in our engagement with the Enugu State Water Corporation, and it's sadly so.
So I feel you're trying to summarize it. So we're going to go in depth a bit more and really break down the challenges, in the sense that the people that you've met, the challenges, the going back and forth. We're going to break that down a bit more, but we'll go on a very quick break. When we return, we'll have more on Enugu Kwenu.
Assalamu alaikum jama'a, sunana mai martaba Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo. Ina kallon Afia TV kuma ina jaddada ma jama'a mu su dinga kallon Afia TV. Allah ya taimake su a aikin da suke na kyau. Inda ba yake ne mu no Afambo His Royal Highness Sarki Abubakar Yusuf Sambo an ma watch Afia TV na kwado kwandibu. Inda ba ni ne ka hana watch Afia TV. Afia TV na mofino dalono.
Time check, it's 2 p.m. and it's time for us to vibe, chill, and relax. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV. So Lunch Break is all about the music, it's all about fun, it's all about entertainment, it's all about entertaining gossip and stories from social, it's all about the latest trends, it's about what's lit, it's all about the games with our guests, and yes, in general, I like to say it's all about the vibe and vibes only.
Welcome to Afia TV, your go-to channel for excellent news and incredible shows that keeps you IEI, that is, informed, entertained, and inspired. Need a break?
Ladies and germs, welcome to Lunch Break on Afia TV.
Join Choco to vibe and chill on Lunch Break at 2 p.m. for the latest trends in music and entertainment.
Not like I have big money.
Dive into the world of innovation and creativity with Rochelle on Unka.
It means art in English.
Where creative minds and groundbreaking ideas come to life. Tune in every weekday at 8 p.m. Do not miss Afia TV Official, your perfect dose of laughter, where they discuss what is currently trending on social media every day at 5:30 p.m. on Afia TV.
But in this economy, the savings will save you, man.
And that's not all. Stay tuned for more exciting shows on Afia TV. Catch us on DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17.
Good evening to you, viewer, and welcome to Women in Business, a show that profiles women, executives, and even the next door store owner, showcasing Igbo greatness to the world.
I started always obsessed with books ever since I was a child.
The stress of always converting naira to dollar and
an incompetent means an incompetent person.
You're welcome back to the program. You're still watching Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV. My name is Favor Obinyaluba, and I'm still here with Emmanuel Okona, CEO Urban Springs. He's an entrepreneur in the water industry here in Enugu State, demystifying the access of water. I think from the conversation we've been having, we've come to establish that Enugu no longer faces a water scarcity. What we face is an access to the water, basically, in the state. So now we're saying, just before we went on the break, we're talking about some of the challenges that you face, and you were talking about you collaborating with government, especially, and meeting some stakeholders, or rather people that you meet in the office, and they're not necessarily seeing you as a collaborator, but rather as a competitor, or okay, you've come and say one or two things, and they are, will I use the word, spying on your proposal, or trying to take some key parts of it. But I said, let's take it a step back and really hear what it is that you're saying. So now I want to understand. So when you meet the people that you've been meeting, have you been able to get up to the level of the commissioner or the SPA or the MD, or you're still meeting people in the office?
Yeah, I think it's important that we establish the objective for our engagement with the public sector, especially the Enugu State Water Corporation in this regard. The objective for us here is to increase the volume of water in circulation, because that's essentially when you begin to talk about having access. So you through innovation, we're deploying our innovation to essentially increase the volume of water that is in circulation, because the water is now there. They have been able to farm the water enough volume. I can tell you that will be enough for the whole state. But the issue has always been getting it down to the people's doorstep, and I must give them their flowers. They have really been working so hard in relaying of the old pipes and all the efforts that they have put in place to ensure that reticulated lines receive water. I mean, kudos to them. So in that regard, we also approach them from the private sector side of it. So essentially, deploy our innovation to increase the circulation of water, and essentially kind of map digital footprints that will improve the quality of water that is in circulation. So we kind of reached out, we have spoken with the authorities there, and I can tell you the MD who doubles as the SPA is a very fantastic man. He's very, very brilliant, and he's proactive. He knows what he's doing. And like I said when I was talking, is these people are not the issue, right? You have in relating with or collaborating with the government. It's not the SPAs, it's not the commissioners, it's not the executive council members essentially running these agencies or MDAs. The issue has always been with when you move away from having conversation with the SPAs or the commissioners or the SSAs and all of those guys, the appointees, when you step into having conversation with the real department, the places that the implementation will go on, this is where you begin to experience challenges. So we've approached the MD. I mean, we've been working with the department and did a pilot phase and sort of kind of proof of concept, showing that this solution applied this way would work to improve the volume of water in circulation. It's going to essentially consolidate the government revenue through water. Sort of, you know, we saw what was going on, and we're like, look, if we put innovation here, the government will be able to achieve more. Because look, you have to factor in that side of water, the revenue side of water. Because if the government or the body that is providing this water does not get good revenue flow, it's definitely going to affect supply, because the cost of things keep increasing. So the approach was for us to consolidate that, increase the revenue flow through water, through private sector, public sector collaboration. Showed that through our pilot phase, demonstrated that. So the problem comes when you speak with someone like the SP or the MD, have a conversation, and then they refer you that to some members of maybe like some departments where you do these implementations, and you get there and it's like you're hitting a rock, you're not moving. The people there, some of them hardly understands what you're talking about, and for those that even do understand what you're talking about, you find out that it's a bit of problem for them, and next thing you see is you're being frustrated out, and that particular thing which you've done a pilot phase for is essentially being done by someone else. And the issue is not about, the question is not competition, right? Because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, competitors are losers, because when you compete away time, you compete away resources, and you compete away opportunities. But when you collaborate, what happens? You learn, and you'll be able to expand, to scale. And so it's not even a question of competition there. It's a question of these other persons that is being treated, or some of these companies, or some of these guys that you see that are trying to use to do what you've done this pilot phase for, and all of those things. It's not about that. It's about the product. They don't have any product. They don't have any service. They don't have any innovation. If they do, I think it's an open market. It's a free market, right? And equal opportunities needs to be given to every player in that market, where people will now use their innovation to create new markets and target emerging markets. This is how development occurs. That's the pattern of development. Startups needs to come in, innovate what is existing, create opportunities, create new markets, create jobs, and essentially deliver positive value. And so this has, really impacted our pace, and has really affected what we tend to actualize there.
You know, one thing that Nigerians would also say, one thing people would always say is, oh, don't wait for government, go ahead and do it by yourself. But it gets to, and I want to also ask this as a question, has it gotten to the point, especially with the water industry, where every or most private-owned companies must collaborate with the government if you want to see access to water in Enugu State become better?
Yeah, I think it's very, very important that this collaboration is cascaded into a large extent. It's very, very important, because the services needs to be there. For instance, the spiraling of cost of water is primarily caused by lack of service. So when you have enough services, then the customers can then choose. And what that does is that it pushes the service creators or the water service providers, it pushes them to innovate, to be able to create better experience for the customers. If you don't create good experience for the customers, your business will fall off. But if you create good experiences for the customers will engage you. So if you have a lot of water service providers in the system, a lot of collaborators, a lot of people working hand in hand with the government, private sector collaboration, you're going to have numerous amount of services in the system, and that's exactly what we need.
So what you're saying is we need to be able to collaborate with the government for this access to water in Enugu to take it to the next level. Exactly. If not, we are going to continue to see a problem with the access of water in Enugu State. Exactly. And from the conversations, from everything you've been saying, where you face the main challenge is with the implementation stage. So the pilot phase is being bought, you've spoken to people, the right authorities, everybody is on board with the idea. But when it gets to the implementation phase, there are people that are holding it or stopping it from happening. Yeah,
look, when you get down to things happening in the civil, in these institutions, like the civil servants, some of them, I mean, the level of rub my back, I rub your back, that is going on there, I mean, is incredible. And someone who is very passionate about progress, when you look at all of these things, it simply shows you that there wouldn't be growth here if we continue like this. And that's why someone like me will continue to advocate for people to engage these institutions, for people to try out their ideas and engage the institutions and come out and talk about their experiences in with these institutions. I, for one, am not afraid to call out some of these problems that we are experiencing, because if we do not do that, we would not develop. Like, there's no two ways about that. If people do not get on board with the idea of the governor and do what they are supposed to do to collaborate, we will not develop. Because what you see is people will compete away opportunities. People will kill ideas. And when we talk about these people, these are our people, essentially. These are our brothers, our sisters, our moms, and our dads in the civil service. They really, really need to sit up. They really need to begin to rethink the way they engage with entrepreneurs, especially those that have viable products, that are willing to demonstrate what they have and create solutions. So I think we really need to look into how we engage with these people, speak about our experiences there, see how things can get better for us.
Right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that you said there are mothers, there are sisters, because when we keep talking about, oh, civil service, and you, like you said, rub my back, I rub your back, and we keep talking about these things, it makes it look like it's very alien. Like the people that are there are people that are untouchable, but, you know, they are very, very accessible. And one of the reasons why water, and especially water access, is important in Enugu is that it's one of the major challenges that in the Enugu face. And water is it's one of the basic needs for survival. You need water to do basically everything. So having these challenges in the water industry in Enugu State, especially as it's something that is scarce, well, we've established that it is no longer scarce, but access to water is very, very important, especially as it's almost Harmattan season, it's almost dry season, and we know the kind of things that happen during dry season. But we'll go on a very quick break. When we return, we're going to be wrapping up the conversation on water access in Enugu State.
What are your thoughts on the spate of sex for grades in Nigerian universities?
This very issue of growing salary should be criminalized.
How can they amplify their voices?
People don't have evidence.
You want to get to know about it? Have to stay tuned right here on Afia Morning Show to get the pulse and the feel of that.
Join us on Gyno Plus every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Afia TV, DSTV channel 254 and GoTV channel 17, where we will delve into health issues affecting girls and women in society.
Breastfeeding doesn't even cause breastfeeding. The frequency of breastfeeding means the approach you take to make sure that your well-being is maintained.
Welcome to the latest and most amazing show on your. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lunch Break.
You don't sing along.
I did sing.
For real.
You're not a backup singer.
I said it because.
You've often wondered, what does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? You know, what's the intersections? What are the conversations we're having about our Igbo spirituality, culture? An example is people wearing red cap everybody wears red caps. Are they entitled to wear it? What does Nzenoso mean? What does Igbo spirituality mean? How have we changed as a society over the last 20, 30, 50, 100 years? Every Thursday, 6 p.m., if you want to know more on libations, as I have a conversation with different people from all walks of life whose common thread is being Igbo, or doing business with the Igbo, or living in Igbo land. What does it mean to be Igbo in today's Nigeria? Cheers. And, I need to do this. Let me pour to ancestors.
You're welcome back to the program. You're still watching Enugu Kwenu on Afia TV, and we're still having a conversation on the collaboration, on the challenges on private-public partnerships, especially for water access in Enugu State. And we still have Mr. Emmanuel Okona, CEO Urban Springs, with us in the studio. I'm going to ask you another question, which is, when it comes to public-private partnerships, especially for water access in Enugu, how would you rate the collaboration between other private-owned companies for water in Enugu? Do you think that there's still collaboration amongst other private companies in Enugu, or everybody is trying to look up to the government, or everybody's just doing trying to go for that, government partnership? Are we seeing collaborations in the private sector for water access in Enugu?
I'm a strong believer that the government alone cannot solve all our problems. In fact, it's not possible. I mean, as Nigerians, we know that firsthand. We've beckoned on the government for virtually everything, and they have not really come true. So I believe that the best way for us to solve our problems as a people is for us to begin to tackle those problems from within. We need to have more and more entrepreneurs that will come up and engage solutions, do research and development, come up with MVP, no matter how crappy, no matter how terribly it looks, put it together and try to solve that problem. And for me, that is one of the ways that we can develop. So within the private sector collaboration and partnership, I mean, there's a seemingly very seamless partnership among the private sector in Enugu, especially in the water sector. We, for one, we are partnering with the Enugu State Vendor Union, the Water Tanker Owners and Drivers Association. We've been collaborating with them, and they have been very, very collaborative. There is the borehole unions across board. We're collaborating with them, and they have very strong collaboration also with the vendor union. There are also other water service providers within the state that you can say that, yes, that the collaboration is very positive in terms of how they relate with each other. There is a lot of good results coming out from there. There is room for us to do more, but I can tell you that the collaboration among water service providers in Enugu is very, very impressive. Because obviously the market is there.
The market is there.
The market is there. So everybody is just trying to see how they can create services for the people. And for us, we are bringing innovation into that. And for the water service providers, what we've done is we've reimagined and re-engineered the way that they deliver these services and the way that they manage their water assets. So if you own smart meter, or you're interested in owning smart metering business, or you have water service trucks that you're using to deliver services in the state, or you intend to have, we've built sort of a platform that enables you to seamlessly coordinate all of your assets, like turning them essentially into digital assets to be able to put digital footprints to things and get real-time insights. So to put things to perspective, so an average water tanker in Enugu would use 50 liters of diesel to deliver about 6,000 gallons of water. Tanker drivers driving on working with Urban Springs platform, they use the same amount of 50 liters of diesel to deliver 10 to 12,000 gallons of water. So you can see the way that using innovation is improving their efficiency ratio and their productivity, which is essentially what we need. We need people to come together, to collaborate, make difficult things simpler, so that we'll be able to serve the markets together, so that the people will be able to have improved experience in the way that they access water. Whether you are buying from the water tanker or you're buying from the reticulated lines, whatever be the case, it has to be like a platform, which is Urban Springs platform, which is what we're building over the years to be able to coordinate all of these sectors to deliver customer-centric services to our customers.
I want to also now ask, from the angle of the citizens, what role do citizens have to play in water access in Enugu? I mean, aside not vandalizing pipes.
I think we'll start from there.
Aside not vandalizing pipes or doing any of those things, but what other roles do citizens have to play, especially when it comes to water access in Enugu?
I mean, we've said it, people need to pay attention to their behavior around water assets. If you want to build a house, go through the right authority and make sure you obtain your permit that you're not building on a water pipeline, because it's very important. This thing that, I mean, in collaborating with Water Corporation, we saw a lot of things. We saw that people are building on water lines. And so some of these pipes are old. I don't know if they think that people will no longer have water, or they did it out of ignorance, whatever be the case, but pipes will burst and it's literally coming out from people's homes. And then for you to replace that pipe, of course, you need to tear down people's homes. So these kind of challenges, I mean, how do you begin to handle it? It will still hinder people from getting access to water. Another thing is our attitude towards water in the area of billing needs to change. Yeah, I know it's not the people's fault. It's not, to be honest, it's not the people's. People work with what they have. So, but let us show that sense of commitment and prioritize paying our water bills on time, as at when due. I know it's not their fault, because people are basically having water is running, and there is no sort of kind of top state of the art system that actually tells you what you've used and all of that. And that's what we're trying to do with Urban Springs. That needs to come in place, right? So you need to digitalize access to water at various points, so that people will know when they are overusing water, and or when they are actually going off the sustainability track.
Well, I completely agree with you when you say water bill, and how people can know when they are overusing water. And I think because when you buy tankers, or you buy tankers of water or drums of water, there's a lot there. You're a bit more careful with it.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a way for you to know the bill. You know that, if I buy a tanker of water or a drum of water, it lasts for 2 weeks. That's a way for you to know the amount of water you use. And by the time you know how much you paid for it, you're more careful with it. But so I think it's just going to be a bit different. But because when it's now the government that is billing you, it now comes with a bit more restrictions of, water should be free, water should be free, but you already buy water. So I think the mentality around water in Enugu too might also, need to change.
Yeah, I mean, for the customers that are on the government utility lines, I mean, yeah, it's a social service. The government is doing their best not to give people excruciating bills.
Yeah.
However, there ought to be like a system in place to guide people, because some people feel like they can use water anyhow they like. After all, at the end of the day, the bill is estimated, they pay this amount of money. I mean, that is not a sustainability practice. It's not a sustainable practice
at all.
At all. We need to like imbibe good culture with the way we relate to water, because water is actually very basic to the quality of life that we live.
True.
The quality of water that is in circulation determines the health of the citizens, and the health of the citizens directly impacts the GDP of the state or the society, right? The government, right? So if we continue to tow this old method of I can use water, I can do anything I want with water, we are wasting water, and we don't pay attention to leakages, to wastages, we don't report wastages. I mean, time would come when it's going to run out, and we start another phase of suffering from there. So I think that what we're looking at is from both ways. The government, the people, there has to kind of, the government needs to be like a system that tells the people what they use and how they use it. And I tell you what, the government will achieve that through collaboration with startups, with innovation.
Wow.
People that have built these solutions.
I think we should go back to it to finalize it, because the government cannot do everything, and they can't have all the solutions. Even as much as they try, they might not have.
They've done very well.
Yeah, obviously we've seen a lot of.
I mean, fantastically well. Moving from 20,000 cubic meter a day to 70,000 cubic meter a day. That's huge. That's true. Enugu State Water Corporation is one of the highest producers of potable water in Nigeria, if you look at the chart, right? So the Enugu State Water Corporation, they've done incredibly well. The government has done very, very well. But of course, there is more to do.
There's more to do.
And they will achieve that through collaboration. Collaboration with innovation, not just collaborating with people that will continue with the old system. We need people that will bring something new. The way that vendors buy water from government has got to change. That was actually one of the things that we were committed to changing or revolutionizing with the Enugu State Water Corporation if we had gotten the opportunity to materialize that collaboration, was the way that the vendors get water from the government that they circulate within the city is a little too basic for me. And when things are like this, when things are like that, you begin to lose values. You wouldn't be able to keep track of values. So, but when you digitalize the way that things happen at that area, you will be able to scale it. It's very important. If you don't create data points, if you don't capture things digitally, you will not be able to move, you will not be able to scale. Because we have tools that gives us opportunity to scale. We have AI, we have all the things that digitalization offers. I mean, technology basically what they offer. I mean, with deploying these things at this point would be able to enable us to scale operations, bring in more water, secure the revenue. Very important. I keep mentioning it. We need to secure the revenue at various points that people, be you customer, be you vendor, are getting water from. It needs to be secured, and sustainability needs to be prioritized at every point. And the best way to do that is through digitalization. You can't do it with analog. It's not by booklet. They're still giving out booklets and doing all of those things, and it's not. You can easily lose values.
Yes, and we won't get there fast.
No. What would you do? You continue doing the same thing every year. You won't be able to scale. But when you bring innovation, people that want to think of, okay, what is going on here? How do we make it better? Like, they are active, this is their life. They are focused, they have a team, they are focused on how do we make this thing better here at this point? How do we improve it? If you bring on such persons or give them opportunities to deploy those solutions, we will grow at an incredible scale. Now, we have, of course, Enugu and water tankers. I mean, it's going to really take a while before we'll be able to face that off.
Yeah.
But before we face it off, we must make sure that it serves us well. That is the power of innovation. If the water tankers that we have in Enugu, through innovation, are able to scale the amount of water that they are in circulation by 300-500%, then we'll have more water for people to get access to.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. I mean, this was a very insightful conversation. We've been able to clarify that what we have in Enugu is not just we no longer have a water scarcity problem.
No, in my opinion,
what we have is the problem to accessibility of water, and we need to be able to take water to the next level, not just for access, but revenue, scalability, and all of that.
After oil, our next line of revenue is water.
Oh, okay. That's a very salient point. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel, for joining us. And of course, thank you to our viewers for joining us today on Enugu Kwenu. We're hoping that the government will also look at the public-private partnerships, especially with water access in Enugu State. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Afia TV Official. My name is Favor Obinyamiba. Enjoy your day.